Joe, we were talking about other programs to be on the lookout for in your area, such as St. Clairsville, Union Local, and the always dangerous Maroon Knights of Wheeling Central. I felt like I was kind of forgetting somebody. How could I forget to mention this week's special guest, former coach of the Bowling Green Falcons, extremely successful guard for University of Findlay, right, Coach?
That's correct.
And coming in on year number 4 for the highly anticipated and extremely talented Marietta Tigers, Coach Austin Gardner. Coach, welcome to Ro-JoSports. We're extremely excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So we'll get right into the questions. I'll start, and Joe will go, and then I'll go, and so on and so forth. Um, Coach, every year since taking over the program here in Marietta, you and your teams have had successful seasons. Last year, you were coming off of a 17-5 season. What can we expect this year to build upon that success?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year was last year. So we don't talk too much about last year's team or previous year's team. Sometimes you can learn from those moments. So those things will get brought up. But, we have a lot of returners this year, but we also have some new faces getting used to some varsity minutes and things. So, obviously it starts for us on the defensive end of the floor, competing on both ends and trying to dictate tempo of the game, physicality, speed of it, and everything. So, and then this year we're harping more on offense. We had our highest offensive output this past season, and so I think we're about 63 points per game or so, and we want to see if we can get that in the high 60s, low 70s this year. Just because I feel like we have a lot of well-rounded players and individual guards and post players that can go mixing and matching with different teams. So hopefully the tempo is a little higher this year. The possessions are a lot more out there for our guys to score a lot of points, but also then to play to our strengths. I think we're pretty athletic, so hopefully we can get up and down the floor and create some havoc and excitement.
Okay. Joe?
All right, Coach. Some people they have a philosophy when they're coaching. Some people are scheme guys, some are chemistry. So, what's your coaching philosophy?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is your culture, your morale of your team, and I think that's everything for us, especially this season. I think we have the pieces of the puzzle, and now it's being able to turn it into everyday guys. So that starts with practice, and culture isn't built in a day, it's built every day. So what we do every single day matters, whether that's shooting free throws, going through our offensive sets, our actions, just our body language, not celebrating after made baskets, no swearing, just honestly trying to teach valuable life lessons that will translate onto the court. And I felt like last year I failed in that respect, and I let guys kind of do too much of their own thing. And I'm not saying 17-5 is bad by any means, but I felt like we had more left on the table. And, we have a lot of seniors this year. We don't want to leave anything on the table for these guys and send them out on the right way as being a Marietta Tiger.
Nice. I like it. So, as I mentioned in the intro, you used to coach at a very high level at Bowling Green State University. What was the biggest challenge for you to approach from such a high level to the high school level? What was the biggest challenge for you?
Yeah, I mean, coaching some guys that are currently in the NBA is obviously a different realm, but just the talent, the ability for individual talent to take over games, and just the skill work, the preparation, but also dealing with guys from different backgrounds and beliefs and values, recruiting their families, and then coaching them. So, and then the biggest thing is retaining them. I think that's one of the hardest things in college basketball now is retaining players. And in high school, you are what you are in your system and what you have in your school district. So, that's kind of interesting. That's a different side note. But I also think there's a lot of similarities, not just differences and challenges. Basketball is basketball. You've got to be able to coach, teach fundamentals, passing, catching, dribbling, shooting. So, you'll be surprised that some of these high-level players don't know basic positioning on defense, don't know basic terminology. So some of our guys, I feel like, have the IQ to play college basketball, even Division I level from an IQ standpoint. Just because it's amazing how much you have to break down things, or how many kids that weren't coached in high school to the level that you need to in college. So our guys get a flavor of that. And, we treat this like a college program. Our weight room, our workouts, our individual sessions, our practices, everything is college-esque. And, some guys thrive in it. Some guys don't want to be a part of it because it's demanding, but I also think it's really rewarding at the end.
For sure. Joe?
Okay, Coach. You kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but what would you determine what your team's success would be? Like, what if you had a successful season this year? Like, what's that look like?
If you ask me and our guys, it's probably a different answer, truthfully. But but no, I really do believe this. If we act how we're supposed to on and off the court, that's success, because we're growing as individuals, not just here in high school, but hopefully it's creating the habits for us to be successful in life and be contributors to society, whatever that may look like. If you ask our guys, and what does that look like? Obviously, it's winning a bunch of games, and quite frankly, they're not wrong. Obviously, I'm super competitive. I wouldn't be as crazy as I am, but I want our guys to understand, to live in the moment, enjoy the moment, but don't get emotional over it, and play with emotion, but don't be emotional. So our guys need to understand that and believe that and trust in that, and just honestly have fun, and I've seen that in practice. I've seen a lot of joy. I felt like, the first week, a little over a week of practice has been really, really good, but it's also, can we sustain and also get better? And, I feel like we've plateaued in the past. We've kind of maybe sometimes think we're better than what we actually are. And I'm glad we have the confidence and the feeling and the ability of that, but also at the same time, we got to just challenge ourselves. We shouldn't worry about our opponents. We shouldn't, I feel like as a coach, I sometimes do too much of that from a scouting and preparation standpoint, instead of just saying, stick to our principles. They're going to have to meet us instead of us trying to meet them in their game. So I think that's been our biggest focus from spring workouts. That we play, and there's some that we're not going to be better than. So how are we going to be able to overcome that? And it goes back to our culture, our beliefs, and our values of, what's going to get us through some tough times, and how are we going to win physical and close games.
Okay.
All right.
So who are the early standouts on a team? Captains, scorers, defenders, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have captains last year, truthfully, because we didn't have any leaders. Junior Bass, I felt like, was our best leader last year, but he only got half a season. And this year, we haven't dealt with the captains yet. I hope we have some captains. We'll do some voting on it, and we'll see what happens with that. But no, I feel like we have a lot of guys that can bring a lot to the table. I'll start with Trey Hawkins, senior point guard. Just kind of sets the tone both ends of the floor and continues to get better and better. I think he is the difference maker and the guy that can make us go. A couple other guys, some seniors, Zayden Whittakin, he will sign to Malone on Wednesday this week. So he's a great athlete, strong player, got a great motor, needs to be consistent with it, but will be a big time player for us. Owen Riley, a lot of these guys are 6'3", so or they think they're 6'3", maybe, I'm not sure, but Owen's a guy that can get things going offensively. He takes charges for us defensively, and he's kind of our wild card guy. You got Braden Plogger, stretches the floor for us as a big. He's also scoring a little bit more inside, and he's gotten a lot more mobile and athletic, so we can do a lot more things defensively with him. Lucas Miller and Logan Gross close. Logan's, I say this to him every year. I said, you're the guy that probably gets better and better more than anybody else. And he probably thinks, man, coach, I wasn't very good my freshman year. But no, he's really continued to turn the corner. He's a smart, high IQ player. Lucas Miller's a guy that can get after the ball, continues to expand his offensive game, and we put him more off the ball too to be successful on catch and shoot threes and driving closeouts. And then our two other seniors is Kobe Alexander, who you guys hear probably a lot on football field running the ball. He's kind of our toughness go-getter guy.
Tasmanian Devil.
Our rah-rah guy. Yeah, he's awesome. He's great. And he helped us last year in some games. And then Owen Heslop didn't play last year. Good golfer. And he's going to help us here handling the ball this year as well. And then some other guys, Grayson Moat, he's a freshman. I have not played a freshman yet in my time here at Marietta. So that will probably change this year. And then Trent McVeigh is another guy that he was quarterback football, moved to wide receiver, did some different things there. And he has been ideal almost every practice. He's brought it, and he continues to get better and better every day. So Trenton's been a huge spark for our guys, and our guys enjoy playing with him. And then I'll mention one other guy. I think that's going to end up being about 11 guys I mentioned, but Keaton Mace, another, he's a sophomore, lefty, shoots the ball well, fits our system exactly what we're trying to do offensively with our off-ball movement, and he just understands the system. So he's another guy that just gets it. So I think we have a really deep team, but I also think we have our go-getters to go make plays and make other guys' jobs easier, which is the sign of a good team, and hopefully we can do that this year.
Okay. A lot of depth. It sounds like. So it's never a bad thing.
No, it gives a coach a headache though sometimes on who you put in the game though.
I'm sure the rotation has to be tough on your part for sure. Joe?
All right, Coach. This is probably the most serious question you're going to be asked. All right. What's your favorite Gatorade flavor?
I call it Waterade. I drink a lot of water throughout the day, so I'm not saying I don't drink Gatorade, but I'm not a big sugar drink kind of guy. But I will have to say maybe a light blue if I do have one, if I'm treating myself. But I'm a Waterade guy, so water all day, every day.
Nothing wrong with that. Coach, we have a few other questions for you. Coach, me being new to the school and never seeing the program play, can you give a sneak peek to the style of play maybe we can expect this season? Fast pace, pressing, steals, fast breaks, or more ball control and time of possession?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, one thing you always see, our guys always play hard. So, I think that's the biggest compliment we get after every game, win or lose. It's like, man, your guys play hard. Not always maybe smart or together all the time, but we always play hard, which is exciting. I think our bench, I watch a bunch of games on film of every opponent. Nobody has a better supporting bench cast than us, with just enjoying other people's success, which is probably the greatest maybe compliment I can receive from our guys. So I love that piece. But yeah, I think we're going to mix things up. I think we're athletic to press, not to wear some of our guys out, but also at the same time, I think it can generate some easier baskets for us. Have pressed some in the past, but nothing like I think we're capable of doing. So we're working on that. And then offensively, I think we got a little stagnant the last year on offense. And so we're amping it up with ball movement, back screens, flare screens, posting up. So we've been studying and working on that. And our guys did a pretty good job this summer with it. And now with this first week of practice, we've continued to harp on that. And, I felt like today at practice, our guys understood what that could look like. So just hoping we can continue to build throughout the year, and hopefully we can play deep into the tournament this year.
Good. Good. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, Coach. Well, I have a question, but I just have an observation. It seems to me like you have a coordination with the orange and black through all your years. You had a playing career, and then Bowling Green, and now Marietta. It seems to be
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened with that, but I think it's more coincidental. I think, but I'm not 100% sure. I have thought about that. I go into my closet and I just see a lot of orange and black. So, um, there's not, there's not much else in there. I know that much.
Um, and then my question is, Coach, who's your favorite basketball player of all time?
Favorite basketball player of all time is Steve Nash. I felt like I've always tried to model my game after him. And actually, our first team meeting, we talked a little bit about Steve Nash. Probably the greatest thing that he had, and probably he robbed one or two MVPs, but we'll leave that as is to somebody else. But um, no, I think they had this study on high fives. I think he averaged about 239 high fives a game to his teammates, and I felt like that was something our guys of connection, affection to our teammates go a really long way. And Steve Nash did that, and then they did a bunch of studies on it for teams, and the most successful teams had the most high fives for 5 years that they did it, and the five worst teams had the least amount of high fives. So I told our guys, I don't want us just high fiving each other, but at the same time, like, let's continue to root on one another. So Steve Nash, my favorite player all time.
Okay. Good. Nice. So one other question I had on here for you. Coach, I teach a couple of your players. The overall buzz towards the season is confident, hungry, and determined, so much so that kids from the team are predicting the highest of highs when it comes to possibilities this season. How do you, as a coach, approach this? What are your thoughts on this heading into the season? They are on cloud nine right now. How do you keep it grounded to make sure that they focus on one game at a time?
Yeah, and I will say it's not even one game. It's how do we just get better? In practice, walking through the hallways, how we carry ourselves. I told them that after our scrimmage this past weekend. It's has nothing to do with anybody else. It has everything to do with us and how we act. And obviously we should have expectations. If you don't, then no organization is going to succeed. But also at the same time, we haven't done anything. I felt like we've had success my first 3 years, and now heading into year 4, it's how do we make this the best yet? And that's obviously the ultimate goal.
That's saying something.
Like I said, and honestly, I think we've had some good kids, good players. We got a lot of guys that potentially want to play college basketball. I mentioned Zayden, Trey. There might be a few others if they choose to go that path. But it's at the end of the day, there's only one ball out in the court, so we all can't shoot it. It's all not going to be our night. So when it's not your night, make sure you're making it somebody else's. And I think our guys are bought into that. Seniors always want to win, so hopefully it stays that way. Not always is that the case. Some guys worry about stat stuffing and trying to do other things. If that's the case, I told them there's no tolerance for that. You're just not going to play. I don't care if you're a senior or not. I think it hurts our team. It hurts our morale. And we're trying to play for the long run. And so hopefully we can advance and do some things. That's a long ways away, but they should have expectations. They also need to come back down to earth and say we've never won anything. So hopefully we can win something this year.
Yeah, I think with all the depth that you have and the all the experience that you have, is just only gonna help your case with that for sure. Joe, did you have anything else for him? I had maybe 2 more, but
Um, no, that's kind of all I wanted to cover today. But Coach, another fun observation is that basketball is orange and black too. So it just the whole life just revolves around the orange and black.
Yeah, don't tell my wife that, because then I told her I'll see you in March, so she won't. She probably doesn't appreciate that, but she signed up for this too. So,
Coach, I have two two more questions, and I'll let you go for the night. But so, who is your coaching role model, and who is somebody who you immediately call and think, to ask for advice? If you're ever, stumped, or just anything to go into a season. Like, is there somebody that mentors you?
Yeah, I mean, that's another great question. I think people mentoring me to start was my high school coach, was Ed Heinschel. I knew I kind of wanted to get into coaching. I always was fond of the game. But he's Ohio High School Division I leader of wins. So, and still is to this day. He's retired. He's coached 6 NBA players. Very successful guy. But I talk to him fairly often. He texted me the first week of practice, wished me luck, but went about it a different way than I would. But I love this tempo, the style, the speed that we played in high school. He got on you, probably said some things maybe that rubbed people the wrong way, or probably you shouldn't be saying, but he cared about you. He loved you. I felt that as a player. I was terrified of him, which made me even appreciate him even more. And then my college coach, Charlie Ernst, also a totally different way of going about it. Kind of was a player-led program, wasn't a screamer and a yeller, but he just kind of made sure you were accounted for. There was the culture that was in place. Two totally different styles, my high school coach and my college coach, but also had the same beliefs and values of what it takes to be successful. And I really appreciate that. I mean, I talk to college coaches all the time, go to practices. I take some of our coaches to some college practices, been to a few NBA training camps. It's just, I don't know. I love networking. I love getting involved. I love, if I can just pick one thing up, it's a successful trip to go somewhere to go watch practice or something. And then I think it helps our guys with recruiting. We've had a lot of guys that have, the last couple of years that are going to play college basketball or are currently on college basketball rosters. So I think a lot of that motivates guys to want to get better if they want to try to do it. And I said, man, if you want to do it, let's make it happen. So, I think that motivates our guys, whether they continue to play or not. But, I got a lot of mentors. I got a lot of people I talk to. I wouldn't say there's one specific person right now that I reach out to, but I've probably talked to 3 or 4 at least texting today, or they've reached out to me asking for things. So I'm always a junkie for it. I'll consume any information I can. I'll take anything I can. I'll watch a game tonight and see maybe it's something we can implement in some way, shape, or form. I'm a junkie for it. So.
Okay, and since you're a junkie for the sport, I have to know. I asked Coach Roberts this last week, right, Joe?
Yes, you did.
So, one, who is, in your mind, who is the GOAT? And who are your top 5 players of all time? This might spark some debates at your practice too. So just a heads up.
Kids, if they watch this, they're gonna be like, I'm gonna be getting something. But best player of all time at the peak of his career is Michael Jordan. Best longevity, it's not very close. It's LeBron James, no question, and ifs, ors, or buts about it. I will say, goodness, there's so many great players. Give me Kareem. Kareem's probably the shot that's the most unguardable thing of all time. There's 3. You continue to, man, gosh, I'm gonna forget a lot of guys. So I think the most dominant post player, though, and I know Kareem was a post player, but I think Shaq, if he could somehow have shot 70% for the free throw line, he might be a little different story. I'm not saying Shaq is, but maybe I'll throw Shaq just from a dominant and a force. And I am a big Steph Curry fan. I think he's continued to change the landscape of the game from the three-point line, but also with moving without the ball, conditioning, cardio. Mm-hmm. And he's 37 years old, and it looks like he hasn't missed a beat. So a lot of that stuff I respect. I named 5 guys. Do I agree with my 5 guys I just mentioned? Not really, but I do like those five. I don't really think about that too much, but there's too many good players, and who
There
knows what
are.
that's gonna turn into.
And
But
and different eras too. You know what I mean? It's so
yeah,
hard.
that stuff's
It's
so
so
hard.
hard. It's so hard. I mean, and you know, me, I put Larry Bird in there, and you know, and Tim Duncan. I put Tim Duncan in there too. You know what I mean? And there, I have my kids, you know, screaming at me, Durant needs to be in there. Durant needs to be in there. I'm like,
And I didn't even mention Kobe Bryant, but it's just like, well, you're second to the guy in the position of Michael Jordan. You know, it's like, yeah, take your pick. All I know is I don't want to play either of them one-on-one. So,
yeah.
um,
Now even.
so yeah, I know that for a fact. They're really good players, and they're one of ones for a reason. So, if you name about the top 100 players in the NBA, I could argue, man, all of them could be in the top 5, top 10. So, yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, is there anything else that you have left to say, or anything? You think you guys open the season against what here on the 28th? This
29th.
29th?
29th. Yeah, we played Toledo Bowser at Genoa Christian Academy in Columbus. So we have a neutral site game that day. And yeah, it's not too far away, and we'll get things rolling.
Nice. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on here on the program. You know, this is new. This is episode 6. So you are our second interview. Probably should have been first, but even still.
Hey, sometimes second's the best, right? No. So,
yeah.
no, I appreciate you guys doing this. This is great. This is awesome. I appreciate the invite, and looking forward to the season.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate it. Take care, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.